Hello and welcome. We are going to just do a quick walkthrough of a sample project, well, a previous group's project when it comes to their architecture, diagram, and sort of how it relates to their code base. Now, what I'm going to be showing you is just one example. There are lots of different examples out there. And I'll also note that I am showing you their final architecture diagram, right? So as you can see already, it says architecture iteration 3, right? So we're looking at something that has already grown into something quite large compared to what they probably had when they started. So the main pieces of our architecture diagram are here, right? We have our objects, our persistence, our logic, and our main. We can see that they also have some information. This is like the actual user. They have this main that exists outside of any of these levels. It probably could live inside presentation, but it's okay that it doesn't. And then they also have their exceptions package over here. So I count a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 packages plus a little bit of extra on the outside. Now, again, if you have watched the videos that I already posted, you will know that your initial diagrams should really just have these 3 layers: presentation, logic, persistence, and then your data objects. You are not going to have any sort of extra pieces anywhere laying about. In iteration 1, you will have a stub database, but you will not have a real in-memory database. That will come in iteration 2. So just keep that in mind while we're sort of looking at this video, that we are looking at sort of a more finished product. When I head over to their GitLab repo in their source folder up here in main in Java, we can see that exactly what we expected is here. We have that main information here. We have the presentation, persistence, objects, logic, and exceptions. The 5 packages that we expected are all listed there, and they're all here. And we can also see that they've beautifully color-coded pieces. So I can see that my ingredient persistence, my ingredient manager, those are going to be attached to the inventory, or the transaction pieces. I can see based on the colors how they flow through. So for example, if I wanted to, make sure I understood what I was looking at, I could start at menu, within presentation, menu, and I can see there's all these menu classes in here. And then I can understand that menu should connect to menu manager based on the coloring. So if I go into any of these and I click in, I should be able to find a connector. I can actually see it right here in their import statements, import logic.menu manager, but I could also find it within the code that those are going to be connected. And I can tell that the menu manager may not directly connect to anything in the persistence, like having its own persistence layer connector, because I don't have a matching color. So using the colors is actually incredibly helpful, as we can see here. We can also see that they have some kind of an engine, this inventory engine, that seems to help with managing shipments and transactions, and that they also have another class in the logic layer specifically tailored to validators. So they may have things that need to be validated that have similar validation rules across many of their logic-based classes, and so we see that they made a validators class over here. And each of these are representative of folders, right? Like we went in the menu folder and we found the menu stuff. If we go into, whoops, that was the wrong button. If we go into their logic, we can see that these here are going to be each classes directly, and we can tell that these are actually classes which are different from these because these have like the little black folder cross on it, which is telling us that this is actually a folder, whereas each of these do not. So these are actually classes. This should have probably had a little folder like that, but at least they shaped it differently from all the other stuff in here, which was enough to tell me it was indeed a folder for validators. So this is really beautiful. Now, typically what ends up happening with our architecture diagrams is this is lovely, and this is like probably one of the best ones I've seen, but maybe we want to give extra information. So often what we suggest This is somewhat in Markdown. This should have been, there should be a space there, and then this would be formatted the way we want. It's going to bother me, but if I just do that, they're going to see my changes, but that's okay. There we go. We can see now that that's formatted. They tell us that we have the 3-tier architecture. They have the presentation layer and then some information about each of those folders and kind of what each one is responsible for. They have one for the logic layer that tells us what each of those classes are responsible for. They have one for the persistence layer with all of that information and a list of the data transfer objects. In addition to that, they've also listed all of the custom exceptions. Now, of course, we could just go into the code, main, Java exceptions, and see that same list, but it is nice to have it in this documentation file. We'll see also that in here, they also have their architecture diagram. So within this architecture markdown, they not only have this full list, but they have the diagram that you can reference. In addition to this sort of high-level diagram, they've also included the more detailed diagram down here. So we can actually see all the information that they just listed in Word form up here, but we can see it in crazy detailed form down here. Now, yes, of course we can see this is psycho, right? Like we all agree this is absolutely insane. There's arrows everywhere, it's hard to follow, but this was made in addition to the simple version with the documentation associated with it. So then if you do just want to be able to look here and see the information in more of a visual format, you can. So this group really went above and beyond for being able to diagram out what their project looked like and sort of how to outline it. Which is amazing, of course. So we can easily see how that document, how the even just the simple diagram relates directly back into their folder structure. And then if instead of going into main, we went into test Java, we would see that they have that logic tests in its own folder, the persistence stuff that they required over here, the presentation system and acceptance tests. As the course goes on, your database, your repo will grow like this as well. But this is really just about sort of seeing that overall flow and understanding what's expected of you when it comes to drawing out that diagram and how it will relate back to your code and sort of the package structure. There will be other videos that sort of will go deeper into maybe following pathways through the code and stuff like that. And of course, there's always the sample project available to you as well. Because not all projects are made the same and not even the same technologies are used each term, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go through detailed, like the detailed stack right now. But being able to just see this, I hope is really going to help you start to envision what it is that you need for your project. Yeah, so that's just one example. There are many more. This diagram down here alone would not have been acceptable. It had to include this diagram with sort of the details listed out above it here. And then having this is just a nice to have addition to see all those interactions and follow through if you need it. This is something, this interaction diagram is more something that like you can do in your IDE instead of a diagram. But I will be honest, I love the diagram too. Okay, thanks for joining me in the bonus video, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Bye.